So at this time, I'm going to open it up for Q&A. We have a few UT students, I believe, with microphones that are around the room. If you have a question, I ask that you stand, you address it if it's to one person or the panel, and give your name and then give them a chance to respond. And if you could raise your hand. Oh, that'd be nice too, yes.
Ben Shane, Stream Recycling Solutions. Deborah, you mentioned HIPAA, and this question I'd be interested from Tommy as well. With the Equifax breach, I think it's all in the forefront of our minds. Data security, I'd be interested to know what you see happening in the next 5 to 10 years in the industry, and then also specifically what your companies are doing to protect your customers' information.
Yep. So I will answer that actually not just from Ideal Image, but also from, I sit on the board of a company called iRobot that makes the robot vacuum cleaner, the Roomba. And in both companies, I can say we do get quite a bit of personal information, and that information is used to make their lives better. So the Roomba, as an example, is actually mapping your home, and we need to protect that data. The same for all of the information in Ideal Image. So it's something very much on my mind, both as a board member and running companies. I've been fortunate not to have been involved in any breaches, but the way that we handle it at Ideal Image is a lot of encryption and sort of second and third tier protection at a number of different places. We also have the information reside not locally, because otherwise people can walk out of your center with the HIPAA information. So we kind of have to manage where the data sits, and it's complicated. I would say there's probably a question for our Chief Technology Officer more than me, but it is something I do worry about every day. The other thing, frankly, on the HIPAA topic, is that when you're in a retail center and you've got people right out there in the open, it's really tempting to go up and talk to them about, what their health need is, but you're right in front of a lot of other people. So the actual management, even of just the conversation, is pretty critical for us as well. So sorry, I probably didn't answer your question in a very robust way, other than to say it's top of mind for everyone in the company.
Tommy, you want to jump in on that at all?
Sure. It is a big issue. I think healthcare is probably now the #1 target for cybersecurity. The financial services industry was for a long time. So I can't go anywhere among my colleagues of CEOs in healthcare and find it not being a big issue. We think about it, a lot of people think of it as a technology issue. We think of it as a trust issue. The community trusts us to take care of them and their families. Part of that is trusting us with all the personal information they give. So we try to think about it from a trust perspective. In terms of where it's going to go, I tell you, my CIO is frustrated, as well as our security guy. As you move from thinking you're never going to be attacked to knowing you eventually will and trying to minimize it, a lot of what people are doing now is undoing what they've done. So as a system, we spent quite a number of years trying to get everybody in our organization into one network and one database, and now we're being advised to undo that and to create subsets of data so that if you are penetrated in one area, you can wall that off from the rest of the company. So that's something that's been a bit frustrating, because all the work we've done to get where we are, we're probably going to have to undo some of that.
Can I just add, there's only 2 types of companies. There's companies that have been breached, and there are companies that don't know they've been breached. I mean, the reality is that you're under attack the whole time, and it's a constant fight, I think.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay. I'd like to know from each of you, just super briefly, what is your biggest leadership? Super briefly from each of you, what's your biggest leadership tip for a woman specifically?
Can I go first as a woman on this one? It's really simple for women. Ask. You've got to ask for what you want. It's amazing. Women don't ask. It kills me. They don't ask for raises. They don't ask for the plum assignment. They don't ask for more money when they get their first job. I mean, the statistics are there, and you need to learn to ask. I actually travel the country and speak on this topic, and that's my #1 piece of advice. And don't wait. Women, by the way, and I'm sorry, I will rattle on this one for a bit. The reason why women don't ask, I think, is they believe that life is fundamentally fair, and if they do a good job, they will get what they deserve. I think men absolutely know, I'm going to go after what I want. there was an HP study, actually. They looked at everybody applying for jobs. For the men who applied, they had 60% of the qualifications. For the women who applied, they had 90% of the qualifications. Women aren't asking until they already know they can do the job. Kills me.
Thank you.
So mine is gender neutral. I'll say decisiveness right there. That was a good one. When in charge, take charge. It's about leadership, stepping up when you have the opportunity. Do the right thing, legally, morally, and ethically, and then you sleep well at night. Make it happen, be results-oriented, and find ways to get solutions, and then maintain balance in your life and have fun.
Personal branding. Most people think about companies branding, but to me at its core, branding is about trying to create an image you want and deliver on it. And I don't think enough people do personal branding, which is to stop and think about how do you want to be perceived? Is your skill set intellect? Is it compassion? Is it political savvy? And once you develop a personal brand for how you want to be perceived, ask yourself, what are you doing every day to make sure that people perceive you the way you want to be?
All right, we have time for a couple more questions. We'll take this young lady in the front. Sorry, making you run all the way back here.
First of all, you all did an incredible job, so thank you for your time and your wonderful presentations. My name is Tammy. I'm the Community Engagement Director with Frameworks. My question is actually for Paul. I really loved your presentation, and you kind of talked about how with veterans, there's so many skills that they acquire, but then how do they transfer that to the civilian workforce? I know that the Tampa Chamber does a wonderful job. They have some programs that they provide. They do like a civilian shadowing day, but I kind of wanted to know what programs do you see, what resources are out there for veterans to get that kind of training in order to bring those skills back into the civilian workforce? Because I think those skills are just as, like you said, they're so powerful. They're management, they're strategic. So what are the solutions for that? I'm just curious to know, how do you address that day in and day out?
Well, first of all, thanks for asking the question, and thanks for caring. It's a hard problem to solve, and that's why I start with this, why I think there's this gap between generally the society and veterans, which is growing. And so there's an education issue. We've been focused on educating the veteran and helping them fix their resume and the right words and the right skill sets and all that stuff, which is part of the equation. But the other thing, I'm involved in Mission United, which is United Way's attempt to help the veteran community and their families. And we just had a teleconference yesterday, and what I suggested is that perhaps we start attacking the other side of the problem, which is the employer side, because generally they want to help, and generally they find that they're good teammates, but they don't understand or know what's missing. And so that's why I try and give these presentations, et cetera, help them understand the kind of sometimes the lack of credentialing in the civilian side. And so I think it's a fair bit of both. And so if we can open up as a society, both in terms of employers and just general knowledge, and understand the problem and want to help, the other thing I would do is encourage you, if you're interested whatsoever in this topic, watch a video, a TED Talk video from Sebastian Junger, Junger. He wrote a book called Tribe on Homecoming and Belonging. And it's a 13-minute long video that I would encourage everyone to watch just to understand. He speaks to some of the societal issues, but what veterans are going through. And we have to get after all of those. Thank you.
And I probably know this answer, but I assume Ideal Image and BayCare, support that and have hired and continue to hire.
We do. We have quite a few vets actually in our organization, and I second a lot about what was just said. I've actually been involved in trying to help veterans show what they have in their resumes, but I agree that's only half of it. I personally sat down with them, terrific people, incredible experience that doesn't show up easily on a resume, and you can rewrite it to highlight those experiences. It does make a difference.
We do, but we certainly don't do enough.
We can help with that. All right, we'll do two more. Any others? Maybe we won't do any more. We got one right there.
What book are you reading, or which book do you want to read next?
Who wants to jump in?
I have like 5, and I'm terrible. I haven't dedicated. The last book I read was Tribe, which I just devoured. I thought was fantastic. I have 5 that are business books that I've started, and I just have not dedicated myself. And I've got to do better at that. But the one I'd recommend right now is Tribe. It's fantastic.
Atul Gawande is a surgeon that's become pretty famous. I can't remember the name of the book. It may be Mortality. It's his current book. I'm about halfway through it. And he talks a lot about basically our country and our society's difficulty dealing with end-of-life issues and how we treat the elderly.
And, you know, it's interesting. I read a lot of business books generally, but at the moment I'm actually reading what I would describe as a comedy book about somebody trying out different cosmetic services and things going wrong. I actually can't remember the name of the book, I'm sorry to say, but it's all about actual surgery rather than the non-invasive side, and it's just amazing what people will do to themselves. Kind of interesting to read, so a little bit of a random topic there.
I'll add Malcolm Gladwell. I'm a huge fan. I've read every one of his books, and when I was commanding a battalion in Iraq, I made all of my officers pick one of those books to read about halfway through the deployment to stimulate creative thinking, and he's fantastic.
So with that, I want to thank everybody. Part of our program, we end at 9 o'clock, and I heard somebody's alarm go off, so that was perfect. We're very sensitive to everybody's time. I want to thank our 3 speakers and remind everybody that the next one will be January 23rd. We also have our Top Shots, which is our clay shooting event, which will be Friday, November 10th. So please hit the UT website to look out for more information on that. We'll at least have 200 shooters, so I would challenge you, even if you don't shoot, come out. It's a great time. It's a lot quicker than golf, and you get to wear these cool shooting outfits, which is really nice to watch. We did have a drawing. Thank you for putting your business cards in there. So we have a gift basket that'll be in the back, which it was Jack McCullum. So thank you, Jack, for throwing in there, everybody else. And let's see what else I'm missing. We do have some gifts for our speakers. So again, thank you very much, Tommy, Deborah, and Paul. And we look forward to seeing everybody on April 23rd. Don't forget to register. Spread the word. This is the most attended breakfast in Tampa Bay. So make sure you spread it. Let's get more people here. Thank you very much.